Thank you for joining us. This is Health Your Own Way podcast, and I am your host, Akins. Welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about why you really don't need confidence to do a thing. And my guest speaker today is Paul Wilson. He's a mindset coach. So I'm actually really interested in this conversation because I know a lot of people lack confidence. So before we start, anything else you want to add, Paul?
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am a mindset coach, hypnotist, healer, and during lockdown, I taught myself to read tarot cards.
No
Spooky.
way.
Yeah. Yes, way.
Sorry. It's not something that I see people wanting to learn. So it was very interesting to see that you said that. I find that, okay, nice. Okay. So let's get back to the actual topic, Mom. So you say why you don't really need confidence to do a thing. So let's first define what is confidence. Because a lot of people may think they know what confidence is, but give us some definitions, sir.
Well, if you look in the dictionary, there are lots of different definitions, but the one that strikes me is the self-belief in your own abilities. So my question is, how can you have belief in your abilities if you haven't done a thing?
I like
that. Because most people talk about I need the confidence to go live. Well, if you've never been live on social media before, how the heck can you have confidence?
I get what you say. I think most people would be, I need not to be scared. You should be a better
No.
Really?
If you permit me, I'll give you 3 reasons or 3 examples of when most of us have done a thing and not even thought about needing confidence.
Okay, I'm listening. Go ahead.
First one, I don't know if you have children, Mo, or you know kids, you know people with children. Mm-hmm. But if you see a baby around about 8, 9, 10 months, they do something that I call the sofa shuffle. And that is they reach up to the sofa and they pull themselves up and they walk hand over hand along the sofa to get from one side of the sofa to the other side of the sofa. And then sometimes when they do this, they will sit down and fall on their bum and they'll cry. Mum comes along, goes, oh, there, then you'll be fine, baby. Puts them down again. And does the baby go, you know what? I'm sick of trying to learn to walk. I just give up. I don't have the confidence. I'm never going to learn to walk. I'm just not going to bother. No, of course they don't. They smile again and they go, oh, and they reach up and they start again. And they do this over and over and over and over again until they get to that day where they get to the end of the sofa and they can see the chair and they stretch across and they grab a little step and they grab the chair. And they do this backwards and forwards, and they're smiling and they're loving what they're doing. Yeah. And then comes the day you're sitting watching TV, minding your own business, and out of the corner of your eye, you see this big, beaming, smiling face standing up, wobbling on her little legs, and boom, 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 boom. She starts walking. And she might even fall down, but she'll smile and she'll giggle because she's done it. And you know why she does that? It's because she wants to be like Mum. She sees Mum walking around the house on 2 legs, being able to reach things and do things. And we get sick of crawling, so we want to learn to walk. We want to be like the people around us. And that's what she does. Second example, you're a bit older now. You maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that. And you're given a tricycle. Sometimes, wheel at the front and 2 wheels at the back and either side. Mm-hmm. Sometimes with pedals. And sometimes you just kind of scoot yourself along with your feet. And then we graduate to a proper bicycle with the, stabilizer wheels on each side. And we wibble and wobble around on that. And then one day you go, Mum, can you take off one of the stabilizers for me? And then you spend the next few weeks cycling around like this with the pressure on the one stabilizer wheel. But then comes the big day and Mum takes off the second stabilizer and she's holding on to your shoulders for dear life because she doesn't want you to fall off, yeah? And then you're wibbling, you're wobbling, it's just, let go, Mum, let go, Mum, let go, Mum. And she lets go and vroom, you're off. Now, at no time did that kid who maybe have fallen off 3 or 4 times and scraped the knee go, you know what, I just don't have the confidence to learn to ride a bicycle. I'm just useless. I'll never learn to ride a bicycle. No, we learn to ride a bicycle because we want to be with the other cool kids in the gang and cycle 500 yards down to the park with my friends. Third one, learning to drive a car. So you get in the car for the first time and you are overwhelmed. The instructors there going, steering wheel, we've got 3 pedals. So the 3 pedals, and there's this lever and that lever. There's a mirror here, there's a mirror here. Oh my God. Yeah. But what happens? Everybody, the first time they turn on the engine and put their foot on the gas pedal in a manual car, they stall. In an automatic, it's different. But let's say a manual car, you know, you call it stick shift. That's right. You've got a stick shift car, you stall, you get 5 yards. And then you do it again, and maybe for the first entire part, the first lesson is and I love driving instructors because they have the patience of saints. The second lesson, you maybe get down 500 yards, or you maybe do a mile before you stall the car, and over time you learn to drive a car. You learn to do hill starts and what we call a 3-point turn, and you learn how to manipulate the gears properly. And you learn the skill of driving. At no time do you say to yourself, oh, I'm never going to learn to drive. I just don't have the confidence. You get in the car and you learn, because you don't want to be dependent on the taxi of mum and dad. You don't want to have to get a bus everywhere or still be on your bicycle when your friends have all got their cars. You want the freedom, you want the independence. So my whole point about not needing confidence is it's something else you need, and it's people don't want to talk about. Practice. You need to practice the skill first before you build the confidence. So let's talk about going live. A lot of people don't want to go live because they're frightened that they're going to make a mistake, that all these people are going to criticize them. They don't want to put their head above the parapet because it's terrifying. They don't want to practice, because what they want to do is they want to get set up and they want to go live for the very first time and be perfect, like a BBC announcer or somebody on CNBC or something like that. Yeah, that's that's the picture. But that's garbage. You got to go back to learning to walk or learn to ride a bicycle. You fell over, you scraped your knee, you cried. You have to go through the same process when you're going live, for example. You have to fumble your words and mumble and kick the microphone and the lights drop off and make all those mistakes. And the sooner you get through this, the more of these you do, the sooner you become comfortable and get to enjoy the process. And then you develop the confidence because you have already built the skill. You already have the ability to do the thing. And we have this whole thing about confidence, we have it the wrong way around. Yeah. There's no way that I would feel confident being a surgeon, because I know nothing about surgery, and nobody's going to give me I already know what a scalpel looked like. But because those hospital movies, they have all that row of tools and equipment. Scalpel nurse, and if she gave me a gouger or something, I wouldn't know the difference, because I've got no intention. So of course I wouldn't be confident in cutting somebody, because I don't know how to do it. I've never done it. I've never needed to do it. Yeah. Driving a truck, I could probably start the truck and I could probably get it going in a straight line, but trying to turn a truck around a corner, trying to reverse a truck, no chance. So I wouldn't have the confidence to do that, because I'd need to have the specific driving training to learn how to drive a truck.
I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. And I'm listening. I've listened. I think for a lot of, as we get older, we become more cautious of how we are portrayed and what comes across, right? And I say this because when I first started my podcast, I was terrified. I had no confidence. I thought I was crazy. I still think I'm crazy, Paul. I still think I'm crazy. But when you said was that you have to practice, and a lot of people don't want to go live because they're afraid of what other people say. I think the root cause is a lot of people are scared. That stops them from practicing, because they're afraid of failure.
Yeah, what they're scared of. They're scared of it not working. They're scared of not being perfect. This is what annoys me about success coaches, because they build this big picture of you have to be perfect. You have to have the confidence first to do the thing. No, it doesn't matter. People don't care. Let's talk about going live again, because that's the easiest one to work with. People want to know who Mo is.
Yes.
People want to know what you stand for. People want to know about your views on eating good food and exercise and getting out. They want to know what you think. They don't care whether you've got a stain on your jumper or your background is wonky or if you mumble and stumble your words. I do it all the time, but people don't care about that. People don't mention that. They want to hear what I'm talking about. They want to see the real me. That's why they tune in. They want to see what I've got to say about something. They want to know my view on something. They want to know if I can help them. People don't really care. The people who care are the ones that have got it in their head that they can't go live because they're going to make mistakes and that they're frightened of making mistakes. So people are going to laugh at them and people are going to criticize them and they're going to screw it up. Well, I'm sorry to say it, but the first time you do anything, you're going to screw it up pretty much 100% guaranteed that you are going to screw something up the first time you do it. Let's get this down to the gritty. The first time you make love, are you perfect? Of course you're not.
Some people can say yes. Some people say yes out there, Paul.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of guys go, yeah, man, yeah, I was perfect from the first day, But let's be honest here, okay? The first time we make love, we know the mechanics, we know where the pieces go, but do we do it right? Not really. Do we give pleasure? Do we do all the things we know that is a good time? Because we're nervous. Does she enjoy that? Is that to this, to that, to that? Do I look good? Am I buff enough? Does the lighting make me look good?
The lighting. I love that part. It's so
true.
But
after a while, when you become a little bit more experienced, you become more relaxed. You become more at ease when you've got somebody with you.
I get what you're saying. I think I'm also going by my own personal experience. I know people that are experiencing this. Even though you may not need specific confidence, I think a lot of social media can be very harsh. A lot of people are cruel. Like a lot of people are cruel. So you may not need confidence, but I think you need some self of not confidence, but self of internal belief in yourself that you are gonna suck the first few times, that you are gonna you have something to say, and then you have to be okay with the fact that if people don't like it, then that's up to them. But be confident in who you are as a person and what you know with the knowledge. And that's how I'm, because even when I started the podcast, I don't think I'm the best speaker. I have a background, my dad stutters and I stutter. I've gotten a lot better over the past few years. Even doing this is a lot better. And even my boyfriend says, and I think when I first started, I was afraid, am I gonna sound good? I got feedback, you mumble too much. But I knew with time, as I kept going and keep going, and as you said, practice, you get better and you build more confidence. So I've built more confidence as I move forward, but you have to have at least some belief in yourself. Maybe not confident, but believe in yourself that, you can do something. Because a lot of people don't believe in themselves. A lot of people lack internal belief.
Yeah, if you believe what other people say about you, that's a big sin. Yes. That's a big no-no, because people love to criticize. People love to pull you down. People love to say, oh God, you're hopeless, you're too this, you're too that. And for the most part, it's because they're jealous. It's because they don't have the gall, the gumption to do what you're doing. I was going to say lady parts.
Lady parts, whatever. Let's go with it.
No, because the thing is, this is really funny. There's a quote that's actually wrong, that's attributed to a lady from I think it's the Golden Girls. And she talks about,
I used to love that show. Which one?
Yeah, Betty something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the quote goes that why do people say you've got to have balls? Because balls are weak, they're fragile, and they're very tender. Whereas lady parts, they have to go through an awful lot of shit, don't they? So you've got to have the lady parts to be able to do this kind of stuff and understand that yes, there are 7.5 billion people on this world, maybe nearly 8 now, who knows? The point I'm making is most of those people are never, ever going to know you even exist.
Okay.
A large percentage of those people don't even care whether you exist. Bring the numbers right down now to say a few thousand. Some of those people are going to hate your guts for whatever reason. Doesn't really matter. You're the wrong color, the wrong size, the wrong shape. Your hair's wrong. You speak funny. You're talking about a subject they don't like. You're the wrong political party. Who gives a monkeys? No, it doesn't matter. Yeah. We don't care about those people. What we care about is that tiny, tiny number of people who need our help. That's all I care about. I only care about the person that I can help, who recognizes they need help and who sees me and goes, yeah, he's the guy that can help me. All the rest, they can call me what they like. They can think about me what they like. I don't care, because you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I know it's a bit of a tongue twister.
No, it's true. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You really have to.
You've got to get used to the fact that whenever you do something the first time, it's not going to be easy. Like you were saying, Mo, the first time you did your podcast, the first time I did my podcast, it was the same thing. You know, I had the wrong microphone. I didn't have lighting. I looked like I was dead because it was so dark, you know. And I was like, oh, my name is Paul, and I did my podcast, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But I did it anyway. Thankfully, my first guest was absolutely amazing. I had to do very little.
Yes.
But I did it anyway. And that's the important thing. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, so you're prepared to do it anyway. And another thing is, forget about the outcome. Like whether it's a good podcast or a bad podcast, or you go live and it's rubbish or it's great. The important thing to focus on is doing it. Because when you do it once, you can do it 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. But if you never do it once, if you never do it that first time, it's like, oh my God, I'll never be able to go live because this and that. Every time I push that go live, but I just can't do it. I just can't do it. It's too scary. I know, because all these people, and this makes me smile, Mo. It really makes me laugh. There's this thing that people talk about. All these people who've been watching me and criticizing me. Well, you know, so like there's 1 million people spending their entire lives going, when is Mo going to go live for the first time? I'm really waiting for Mo to go live. There's 1 million of us around the planet, and we've got nothing else to do, no job, no life. We're just waiting for Mo to go live. And then the day you go live, whoosh, there's 1 million, your little ticker box will, and there's 1 million people watching for the first ever. I hate to break it to people, yeah, but when you first go live, if you're lucky, your cat will be watching.
It's so true, Paul.
Your mum might be watching if she's not at work. Your best friend's sister's budgerigard's cat, dog, and auntie might be watching.
It's so true.
And that's it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Today, I've done hundreds of lives, and even today, sometimes I go live and there's nobody watching. But it doesn't matter, because the live thing is only 3 or 5 or 10 minutes. But that recording is there forever. I've had people contact me, Mo, and I always ask this question, you know, like, how did you find me? One lady said to me recently, I watched a show that you did in somebody's group last May. I'm talking not May 2021, May 2020.
I hear you.
And she'd watched it. She hadn't commented, hadn't liked or shared or done any of that kind of social media. So she just knew I was there. She'd put a little star against my name. Then when she needed help, bang, that's the guy I want to talk to. And the funny thing is, Mo, the vast majority of my clients who are not referrals, they don't comment, they don't like, they don't share, they don't even friend me on social media, because I've got all my social media platforms public.
I know you said that. And I think, you know, before you go further, sorry to cut you off, you mentioned that you're a mindset coach. What is a mindset coach? Because I know you're saying a lot about what you do, but I don't think we've actually understood what a mindset coach is.
Okay, well, if we do it this way, a life coach kind of helps you put your life in order. Well, I do the same thing, but I approach it from up here, because everything stems from your mind. If you've got a mindset that is very negative, that doesn't look for opportunities, that sees the glass as 3/4 empty, let alone half full, you're never going to progress anyway. I mean, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and kind of high-level consultants, you know, 6-figure consultants. So they're making loads of money, they're doing great, but there's something missing. Something is holding them back, and they can't figure that out on their own. So that's where I step in. I work with a client to figure out what it is. Well, first of all, what do they really want? What's the thing that's missing in their life? Because, okay, yeah, you're making good money, but money isn't everything. So what is it that's missing? Is it that the job's not fulfilling? Is it that you want to create a legacy? Is it you want to do something really big, really special? Is it you want to push to the next level? What is it? What's the thing that you really want to do? So that's the first step. Second step is we figure out what is holding them back. Now, it could be something like imposter syndrome. It could be lots of internal barriers that, like you said earlier, it could be fear of failure. Because even famous people, even people that are multimillionaires and megastars, still have this fear of failure, still have imposter syndrome. You know, the Barack Obama's wife, Michelle Obama, she's talked about having a lifetime of fighting against imposter syndrome. But she's an amazing person. She's a lawyer. She's got loads of qualifications. She's written books. She's been the first lady of the United States, and yet she still had imposter syndrome. So people get it at all different levels. And some people will deal with it and fight it and get over it. And other people, they just let it hold them back. So that's the next thing I do is I figure out what's holding somebody back, and we eliminate, we remove, we just blow up that thing that's holding them back. And then the next thing is we now together, we draw a map of how they're going to get to where they want to go. And then the final thing is I become their accountability buddy, because a lot of coaches, they want to be your friend. It's okay, Mo, you didn't do those things last week. It's okay. I understand. I forgive you. Don't worry about it. We'll pick it up next week. That's not going to help your client. What I do is I will sometimes, if necessary, grab my client by the scruff of the neck and drag them kicking and screaming to make sure they do what we've agreed to do, because otherwise they ain't going to get there. And they pay me good money to help them get there. So if I get all lovey-dovey and friendly, they're never going to get there. Whereas I play, you know, I challenge my clients sometimes. I will push my clients because that's what they want from me. I'll become their accountability buddy. It's like a personal trainer in a gym.
Yes,
you know, you've got the guy doing the bench press, and the coach goes, "Go on, Paul. One more, Paul. You can do it, Paul. One more, Paul. One, Paul." So if he doesn't do that, she doesn't do that, then Paul doesn't get any stronger, because Paul just does 3 and he's comfortable with doing 3. Whereas if my coach goes, "Come on, Paul, one more, and I do 4, and it comes down, and you go, okay, one more, and I get 5 done, I've improved. I've pushed myself, because we create these false beliefs in our head that I can only bench press 20 pounds. Yeah. But you know that everybody can do a little bit more than that, because we have this reserve. So if you don't push me to do that a little bit more, I will never be able to do 80, 100, 200 pounds. So that's what I do. So that, in my view, so that's how I explain what I do as a mindset coach.
I love that. And before we let you go, I know that you also said earlier that you have a podcast called the Happy Head Podcast. So that's an interesting name, a Happy Head Podcast. So what is your why of creating it, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, it's very simple, really. I have 3 reasons why I started this podcast. The first reason is that I hope that at least one person that either listens or watches to one of the episodes gets help from that episode, that finds some way to understand that, well, she's been through that and come out smiling. That means that I can go through it, and I'm not the only one that's been there. That's the first reason. Second reason is for both myself and my guest, or the host and me as a guest, the podcast becomes a marketing asset over time. You know, over the next 5, 10, 50, however long years, more and more people will find and discover that podcast episode. And the third reason, and a very selfish reason, is that without the podcast, I wouldn't get to meet and have conversations with some of the most amazing people. And that for me is a big thing, because Mo, without your podcast, we would never have met. Yeah. And the same for all people on my podcast. Yeah. I would never have met them. I've talked to people that have written books. I've talked to stuntmen. I've talked to people who have overcome breast cancer. I've talked to people that shouldn't be alive. Their doctors told them 20 years ago they should be dead, but they're still here. I spoke to people that have been through, you know, the one lady in South Africa, and this is horrible. She was beaten, she was raped, she was left for dead. The guy was caught, put in prison. The day he was having his parole hearing, she happened to come back to South Africa, got a call to say, you can come to parole hearing if you want. She went, and in front of everybody, she said, I forgive you.
That's strong. I don't know if I could do that.
I'm not saying you could, but
I know, I'm just
did.
saying.
And so I got to meet that person, that incredible person that's gone through all that suffering, and yet he's able to face the guy that did those horrible things to her and say to him in his face and mean it, I forgive you. That's an amazing person. And without the podcast, I wouldn't have got to meet her.
You know what's funny is the three things that you've mentioned exactly the reasons why I did this. Because again, like over the past, I've done 101 shows, like episodes. I've talked to over 101 people, and I know that we are so isolated that even sometimes, even though there's social media, we're still isolated to a certain extent. But to get to talk to people from different places is really nice. And if anybody was really interested in, learning more about what you offer, even finding your podcast, what's the best platform to reach you out on?
All of them. If you go to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and Twitter, and even TikTok, and look for Paul Wilson Coaching, you'll find me. I just started a TikTok account a few days ago, and I'm on YouTube. And if you look for Paul Wilson or a Happy Head podcast, you'll find me on there as well. But I mean, I don't know if you use show notes. I can give you all the links.
We do. We're going to actually put your details in the video, as well as in the show notes. Is going to have your your actual website as a link. Don't worry, I have that all. I just wanted to make sure that we have the right details. I was pleasantly happy with this conversation. I have to be honest, Paul. I'm pleasantly happy with this conversation because, when you say confidence, like you made a great point. I never thought of that way, and I really enjoyed this conversation. I think whoever's listening or watching, this is a very smart man. Okay, very smart man. I'm not going to lie on that. If you are, oh Lord, okay, the man shaking his head. If you are looking for a mindset coach, and you sound, and you look like you know what you're talking about, because even in the 20 minutes or 30 minutes I've been conversing with you, I've learned a lot. And I appreciate this conversation with you is what I'm really saying to you. And I think before I let you go, is there anything you want to add or anything you want to say before we close out? Yeah, actually, whatever you're going through now, if you're going through anything, just remember that this situation is temporary. I mean, I'm not a Bible person, but there's a thing in the Bible that says, this too shall pass. So if you're in a difficult situation right now, I understand it and I sympathize, but just remember that it will end and you will be able to see a brighter, happier time at some stage in the future, whether that's in a day, a month, or a year. It will end. Thank you for that. And I think, you know what, there's somebody I want to send this video to. So I'm going to be sending them this podcast because they need it. I may just edit that part, but who knows? Okay, what I just said, Paul. So thank you very much for being part of this conversation with me. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, sir. Listen, Mo, it's been wonderful. You're a great host, and thank you for your time. And thanks for watching, folks. We're glad to have you join us. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, share with anyone that needs to be empowered and inspired. And don't forget to join us next week for the next episode of Health Your Way Podcast. Have a good day, you guys.